we got some pretty decent leads out of that.
Oh, that's
And then
wonderful.
my team went door knocking yesterday. Most of them, it was their first time going. We only got yelled at by one person, so that was good. We got 3 solid leads and they stuck with it, so it was actually really good.
And we didn't have any physical altercations.
No physical altercations.
One-
It was close, but-
One man told me that because I got the vaccine and 5G, razor blades are going to destroy me from the inside.
Yeah, so we had some
So
good-
I learned a
good
lot of
stories.
knowledge too. Lots of wisdom.
Everyone needs a home.
He said, good luck, you have 5 years. I said, thank you. Would you like to say your name?
I want to thank everybody for having grace with me last week while I was out sick. I had to reschedule some appointments with Tamara and a few other people, and you know, some of you are waiting on responses from me on emails. So thank you for your patience while I recovered.
We're glad you're back. Cough, cough, cough.
I just want to thank the whole office. I had kind of a rough last 6 months if nobody noticed, and I feel like I'm finally starting to get back to who I was before, which none of you guys have met that person. So I'm excited and I'm feeling good things coming.
I'm happy for you. Great, that's awesome. Thank you. All right, who else? Any other buckets to fill? Isn't he always great?
I would actually like to thank Linda as well for giving me the opportunity to come out here and be part of this crew and see what we can do.
I love that. We're happy to have you.
For those of you that don't know, this is Taylor West Road. He is joining our office officially as of today.
Welcome. Nick, did you have your hand up? No. Oh, you're- Well, I felt like you were grateful for Corey there, so always.
Corey and broker name match.
All right, we got everybody. Let's go to our cultural icon. Oh, I'm sorry. If you are a guest or new agent, will you stand and introduce yourself? Please. We'll start off. We'll start off.
Wow.
Wow.
My name is Jeff Anderson. I am visiting today, just checking a couple brokerages out. I passed my exam a little over a week ago, so.
Good job.
Started full time in the middle of February, so just kind of see what you guys are about.
We're the best.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Happy to have you.
Thank you.
I'm Drew Markuson. My license went active yesterday, so just.
Oh, we're happy to have you, Drew. Awesome.
I'm Megan Shields. I'm just a guest here. I'm still going through school. So thank you for having me.
You're in school?
Yes, still in school.
Oh,
It's your rock star.
Hey everyone, I'm Bucky Reynolds. I'm here to say hi and check out the office.
I'm Taylor Westmoreland, and I just joined the Burgess.
I love every kid.
We don't know you, who are you?
All right.
Introduced last week to Elliot. who just joined my team.
I was,
I didn't think anybody else had.
yeah, I came here last week, but I was dead tired, so I didn't say anything. I didn't know it. I'm new to her team, and I'm here to get it. I'm here to go. So.
Happy to have you. Cultural icon, Andrea is our cultural icon, and she was not able to be here. She wanted me to present the award for her. So she is giving this to an agent who's been with us for a couple of years, and we don't get to see him enough. He's always cheerful and helpful to anyone who has questions, always willing to share his experience. He is all in on everything KW has to offer, and has been to bowl probably 8 million times. He is growing his team in Salt Lake and also Texas, and Greg Fowler. Cultural icon.
That's amazing. I didn't even know anybody knew who I was. So. I'm super thrilled to be building a team here, and so just excited to keep going. I am all into this like all of the time. And so, and this office is too. When I walked through the front doors the first time here, I just went, wow, this place is home. And I can promise you, I've said this as I've looked at KW offices all over the country. Not all KW offices are created equal, and we are in a very, very special place here. So
Thank you. Congratulations. Cry over that. I'll bring that to you. All right, time for a broker moment.
I too would like to thank Linda. You know, as you may know, first of all, I'll be quick. Yeah. A lot of what I get up here and say, I bring from Witsy, and for those of you that don't hop in there and join, please join us, because it's a spirited conversation about things that are going on and all that kind of thing. Last week, John has talked about the housing forecast and stuff. Great information to have, guys. This is stuff that's going to help get your people off of dead center. I mean, some of the things I made a presentation last night to a different nonprofit that I normally work with. We had about 60 people in there, and I started off with where we were last year, where we are right now, and what's going to be in the future. And that's great conversation to have some things that your people want to know. 27% statewide increase last year, shattering the 43-year-old record of 20.1. Not sustainable. You know, there's got to be some changes. And now we're like going, oh man, the market's falling. Yes, market's falling to hopefully 10 to 12% appreciation. You know, and Utah's traditionally 3 to 5. So we're still in a killer hot market. And interest rates they're projecting, all the prognosticators are saying they're going to be about 3.5%, give or take. And for one of us in this room that have sold real estate when it was in the 17% range, why do you have people sitting on the fence at 3.5? You know what I mean? That's still killer interest rate. Double digits will probably slow down to 10 to 12. But when I'm talking to nonprofits, the inequality that is happening, people that own a $700,000 house last year created $70,000, $140,000 additional wealth. The people that are renting face double-digit increases in rent and no wealth built. And those gaps are getting bigger. So trying to fill that spot with the nonprofit. And we talked about the growth of the Salt Lake Valley, the Wasatch Front. One of the things that I heard last week in the conversation was 2% of any area likes to live downtown. 2%. If you go into Detroit, if you go into wherever, 2% of the population likes to live downtown. And based on our growth, we need to, in downtown Salt Lake, find 200,000 more households. Where are they coming from? And so that's the kind of conversation you should be having with your clients. But this morning on Witsy, we were talking about Phoenix was out knocking doors, and these guys almost got in fisticuffs with the guy that chased them off. So the conversation is, you can have all of this wealth of knowledge, but if you're not engaging or if you're not getting into that conversation to share that knowledge, what good does it do you? And so let's work again on how to engage in that conversation, do some disc stuff. What makes you different? If they put up a for sale by owner sign in their front yard, they're going to get 500 phone calls. How do you stand out? If you don't get into that conversation with them, you can't tell them how great you are. You can't tell them your value proposition. You can't share with them your wealth of knowledge. So what are you doing at the very beginning to engage them in a conversation? And let's have that be the focus here for a little while.
Thank you. Coach Dave.
My favorite part of the week. You ready? Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Oh my God, I love that so much. It's my favorite drug. You know, Broker Dave talks about sometimes how he's nervous about preceding me because he's going to bring the level down. and then I'm gonna bring the level up. I feel that same nervousness with Broker Dave, absolutely, like to follow that kind of talent and information. It just makes me feel a little uncomfortable. What I want to share today was, who here knows or has heard the name Mona Stevens, the great realtor, the great softball player and coach. She's Olympic medalist, Pan American Games medalist, fast pitch softball league, Hall of Fame. What was that?
Lead singer in Sister Wives band.
Yeah, lead singer in the Sister Wives. Like, yeah, I always wanted to start a country metal band called Brother Barlow and the Sister Wives. And then I found you guys and I just had to put that on hold to become a realtor. Sorry. So the reason I bring up Mona is Mona was a fantastic coach before she was a fantastic agent, right? And she coached at a level where her players were typically the best of the best until they got there, okay? And when people get into a situation where they've had some success in the past, they're used to being really good, and you put them in another place they're uncomfortable, what do they tend to do?
Stagnate.
They freeze, right? They freeze. How many of you felt that freeze as you stepped into the real estate world? I did, right? I did. I felt that freeze. Well, what Coach Mona would tell these athletes who had proven success in other places is before I can help you, before you can improve or get better at what you do, you've got to move your feet. If you're stuck in the field, you're done. Once you start to move your feet, do something, that's how we win championships, right? And the analogies between sports and sales, especially real estate sales, they're right there, right? They're right there. And so when we get into this business where we've had some success in the past, right? Small business owners with success, we've had successful careers working for corporations, for other people. And then we realize that we have to do a little something different, that we're not the most talented person in the room any longer, right? And so we freeze. But folks, until you move your feet, nobody can help you. Until you do something, nobody can help you. So in this business, what is moving your feet? Can anybody give me an idea?
Make a call.
Say it louder, people.
Lead generating.
Lead generating, picking up the phone, knocking on a door, getting yelled at by some weird guy.
Coming into the office.
Coming into the office, okay? Raise your hand, take a poll. Regardless of political, philosophical, or religious beliefs, do you think that you and your people think the world is going great, everything's perfect, and there's no need for stress? Does anybody believe that? Okay, one, okay? You're the one who heard about it. The rest of the people in our lives are probably feeling some stress right now, probably feeling some uncertainty right now, right? So when you talk about moving your feet, I'm not saying go out there and build a 7th level business overnight. I'm saying pick up the phone, talk to the people that already know and love you, tell them that you're thinking about them, that you understand that they could be going through some stuff, and that you're here to help them right now, tomorrow, and in the future. That's how we build a business to go out and win those championships. Like always, folks, thank you for being here, part of this wonderful thing we're doing, and it's a pleasure to be in business with each and every one of you. That's what I got.
Lisa was the only one who raised her hand.
I was
Kansas City
totally
one.
kidding. I was
No.
totally kidding. You
Kansas
should have
City
seen
one.
me Sunday night.
I know. Raise your hand, who is going to the awards gala? Oh, we have more people in our office than any other in the region, so Sugar House knows how to have a good time. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna celebrate our people who will be presenting awards
And
to.
everyone is welcome.
Everyone is welcome.
We want to celebrate all of you. So please plan on showing up. This is a really fun event. You get dressed up, there's dancing, desserts and a cash bar, and it's so much fun to get together and celebrate. And I know some of you have hesitation about gathering in a large group, and it really is, we're going to do everything we can to keep it pretty safe, and it's going to be so wonderful to celebrate
So they
together.
need to register, they
Yep.
can't just show up, right? 'Cause they have to-
Yeah, register, and we can send out the.
We want to make sure we have enough food, so it's really important that you register, yeah.
Awesome.
Woodlands bring plus one.
Yes.
Okay, and do they have to be registered or?
Yeah, it'll have a.
There's an
When we
option to
register,
register.
is it 2 tickets or do we register?
You-
at other person's
One, and
spot?
you can request two.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun, this Friday downtown. It's great. And now, Eden, will you come up and talk to us about Interland and how, what Interland is and how it connects to our business.
Hi, everybody, I'm Eden. Normally, you'll see Mike Sheehan up here, and I'm not Mike, but it's ironic, he is here. We had that last minute phone call he had to take, so. He asked me to just kind of come and refresh you guys on Interland. There's a lot of new people here. So I wanted to share the program with you along with a couple other things that we're gonna be doing. But what Interland is, it's our digital mortgage platform that we have here. And this is an amazing tool that you can provide to your buyers, because nowadays buyers want control and they want choice, but they also want to be educated throughout the process, right? So what Interland allows you to do is you can provide multiple bids to your buyers on either wholesale or retail channels. So and they only have to fill out one application. So the way that I kind of like to compare it to is it's kind of like the kayak, but for mortgages, where you can go in, you can see multiple bids and then select an option, right? But the great thing is that Interland, it's a privately held company, so all of your clients' information is private and it's protected. So it's not gonna be sold off to, they're not gonna be solicited to by anybody. But Mike here, who is the finance manager, he serves as like that true one-on-one consultant for your buyers. So once they receive an email with those 3 bids that you've selected, he'll call them and actually have a one-on-one conversation to say, hey, let's assess what each one of these programs mean for you and what your best option is. And then your buyer can really feel like they're being educated, but they're also having the choice for which one they want to do, right? So I think it's a great program, and we've gotten a ton of traction here at this office. So I'll be here after, and it's an app on your phone. So if you guys aren't familiar with it, if you want to set it up on your phone, come and meet with me and I'm happy to do that with you. One thing that I want to mention to you guys as well is we are a mortgage platform. We're not necessarily just a mortgage brokerage. So we're not here to replace the current lender relationships that you already have. And that's a great thing, is that we're treating this really as a true partnership. So we have the ability to bring on your preferred lenders and whoever you're currently working with onto the platform, so you can still refer business to them that way. So it's a great benefit that way as well. Is there anybody who has any questions or who has worked with Interland so far that might want to? Spencer Rathball. Yeah, Spencer Rathball, would you mind sharing your experience so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome. You should all use it. It's been such a good proposition to share with our clients, because really our fiduciary duty is to our clients, right? In my mindset, my goal is to get my clients the best rate, the lowest fees, etc. But more importantly, work with somebody who can get the deal done, right? I mean, that's the most important part. But if we can put them in touch with people that know that they have to compete for that business, they are going to give them the lowest rates, the lowest fees. We still get to use our preferred lenders. If you are working with a preferred lender that is not signed up on the platform, talk to either Rich or Evie, and they can as well. So I've closed a handful of deals. It's been a super smooth process. It's great to have that app on your phone because it's so easy to call it fast track the client. You know, I've been at an open house where somebody shows up, not working with an agent, not pre-approved, and all you have to do is get their contact information, which you want anyways, and say, hey, let's get you pre-approved for a loan, and get them started in that process. I mean, it's so easy, and it's just been a great value proposition I've been able to provide to my clients. So
You may have heard I'm kind of a CYA guy. Cover your
It's
age.
your job.
You know, and this is not a paid advertisement here, I'm not an investor, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, if I've got a client and they have some plumbing issues, and I send over my brother-in-law, the plumber, and he goes over there and fixes it and all that kind of thing. And then when the basement floods, they come back and say, oh, Dave's plumber, Dave's, you know, and I'm kind of taking on the responsibility for that person. What I like about Intralend, number one, if you've got a preferred lender and you're sending everything to them, if something happens between that lender and your client relationship is in jeopardy. They might not want to work with you because they don't want to work with your lender. This is an opportunity to get a third party. I'm not sending to my guy. If something happened to go wrong, how did you choose him out of the three that you selected or whatever? But it truly is a providing, like Spencer says, providing the best opportunity for your client to get the best deal. It also is a CYA moment because they're the ones selecting that lender. You're just putting them in contact with an entity that will put them in contact with lenders from which to select. And so it kind of takes you off of that line. They're fine.
Thank you. So anyways, as you know, new agents, as you're building up your database, or even if we have agents here who just need a reason to contact your SOI, this is a great tool that you can use. And you know, if they haven't taken advantage of the refi boom yet, or even if they want to shop wholesale, you know, refi rates, that's a good option for you to do as well. So, and then Mike also wanted me to let you know that we have officially, you know, integrated with Intercap, right? That's your guys' preferred lender. So within the next couple of weeks, they're going to be doing a class specifically on expanded loan products for investors and self-employed borrowers. So keep an eye out for that. We'll send you guys out some information. And then last announcement, between this office and the other three offices that let's see, South Valley, Sandy, and Orem, we're announcing a competition starting today that whoever has the most amount of fast tracks sent between now and the end of February, we're gonna do a big, nice like lunch party for you guys, and it's gonna be like a big step up from Jimmy John's. So we'll do something nice.
Sorry, I had to step out for a moment. I wanted to speak to the experience as like on the client's end, because I actually submitted my application for a refi through it. And it's super simple, easy to understand. It's a couple of pieces of information you enter, and then they contact you right away. Like the follow-up is amazing. It was so easy. So for those of you who haven't seen what it's like from your client's perspective, it really is a smooth process that like they kind of carry you through the whole thing.
Okay, let me know if you guys have questions. I'll be here after, okay?
Thank you
Thank you
so much.
much.
It's very easy to download, and I have it on my phone, so.
You can too.
It's super easy. Thank you so much. All right, family reunion. Rachel, did you want to talk about family, or do you want to just run this?
Yeah, so I'll just tap really quickly. I know we sent out an email, and everyone here reads all their emails. I know, so this is gonna be a repeat of information for a lot of you. Given everything that's going on in the world, they are capping the attendance at a lower number than they ever have before for family reunion to keep everybody safe. And that's gonna happen. They haven't told us exactly when, but it's gonna be in the next couple of days. So if you've been on the fence about whether or not to get your ticket, highly recommend getting your ticket now. And if you need help with any of the registration, booking a hotel, anything like that, let me know. We have a goal of getting 25 of our people. And really, I would like to set a push goal of 30. If we could get 30 of our people going in person, it would be so much fun. It's not just fun though, it's also such incredible education and training, and to be in the room with just the top leaders in the industry. So if you're thinking, like, I might go, I think I'm gonna, like, let me know and I'll figure out a way to help you get your ticket, because I don't want you to miss out. So the urgency is the name of the game today.
Thank you so much.
So do I want to show the video too?
How long is it?
I don't know. Let's just see. And if it's really, it's 23 seconds.
23 seconds, we can do. Perfect. Now you want to go.
Hold on, that was the best 22 seconds of my life.
It's fine.
That changed my mind.
We have to watch it. We can talk about our training.
Yeah, so after a couple of technical difficulties, we do have the Miracle Morning book club. The link was sent out yesterday on the email at the end of the day. So we're starting that right after this at noon. Okay. Contracts class later on today at 12. I think that's in here. Okay. And then tomorrow we've got listings with Sean. He's awesome. And then from 1 to 2, also elevate your lead gen with the Command app. And 1 to 4, 3-hour CE mandatory residential course. Who's teaching that one?
Not sure.
Okay, but that's a good one to get into, especially because it is mandatory. Thursday, you've got 9 to 10 building powerful pipelines, 12 to 1 wealth building first step. So Justin Kuchar and team are spearheading that. Justin in here?
I saw him up.
Yeah. Wow, and I know Tanner was on that committee. That this is something that's going to be taken to even higher levels, and Alan did a great job over the course of the years. But that would be one I would mark on your calendars. Yes.
Do we know who's teaching Elevate Your Lead?
That's Kimber. So Kimber are,
And the pipelines one?
Yeah.
Okay, going over that.
yeah, so it's gonna be really valuable, and she runs it like a workshop. So bring your laptop and she'll help you get your stuff actually set up
Yeah, you'll
and
be-
running.
You'll be able to leave with
Yep.
it done.
Yep.
Yep, and if you were at Bold, she did the same thing for the people that were at Bold. If you're on command, it's powerful. And then Friday, Delaney will be doing new associate class from 12 to 2. And then next Monday, design sprint with Scott and Road Marketing. 2 things on the agenda for next month is we've got Josh and Kimber are going to be teaching a class on lead flow, right? And so it's going to be really integrating what she's already doing with in command, but now you've got Josh coming together with her. That'll be a powerful class that's toward the end of the month. It'll be on the calendar that comes out this week. And then up in March, we have Mona Stevens, who's going to be coming in right after we finish the Miracle Morning Book Club. And she's going to be teaching that class out for 4 consecutive weeks. So
She's an amazing coach that
Yep.
Coach Dave talked about,
Yeah.
an agent in our office as well.
just some things on the horizon.
The Thursday at 9 training up there.
Yep.
Is that with Christina Goodman?
Yes.
And is
Yes.
she gonna be here or is that a
That's
Zoom meeting?
virtual. That's Zoom.
It's all on Zoom, so where will I find that link?
We can send that out after today's email. Yeah, for sure.
That I didn't know.
And I'm gonna have you stay up here for the next slide because that is the Miracle Morning. And if the people who haven't jumped in, if there's still time to do so.
Yep, we're on chapter 4 this week. It's one of those books where you don't have to start at chapter 1 to immerse yourself in it. You know, I was just talking to Darren as we were talking about, you know, some of his wins and things that he's, you know, still trying to get his habits around. And it's this book more than anything, it's not about a journey. It's not reading, you know, 10 chapters and then you have it all put together. It's time on task, right? And it's about the progress rather than the perfection. So yeah, join us 12 o'clock. We go about 20 or 25 minutes.
Right here.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for leading that as well.
No problem.
All right, Lee, it's time. Come on up. So before we get started here, I just wanted to acknowledge that Lee, this is your 50th year in real estate.
Well, we'll be in April.
Oh, we'll be in April.
We'll be in April.
That's
I'm an
amazing.
April Fool's
I was 17 next month and I about fainted when I saw that, so.
Well, I was kind of like Phoenix. I started at 19, isn't that what you started at also?
18,
18, okay, so he's ahead of me.
I'll have 51.
Well, I think we want to kind of get to be my age, yes.
That's awesome. I want to thank you for your willingness to do this.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. And I asked you because you said something in our owners meeting recently about your big why. It's very simple and I wanted to kind of chat about that today. Because I've had a lot of conversations with people of late. We tell people what to do. We set a business plan. We know what we have to do every day. But sometimes we have to go back to why we're doing it at all, right?
Yeah.
I do that pretty much daily myself. So will you share what your big why is and how it came to be that for you?
So my big why has changed over the years. So when I was 19, I don't think I had a big why. I think it was just to make some money. And then when I got to Salt Lake, which was 1978, my ex-husband went to college, and it was like, holy cow, now I had a big why. I had to support my whole family. Then I got divorced, and then it was like I didn't want the kids to ever feel like they missed something because they were in a single parent household. And then when I got to 50, it was about how do I retire and do this really, really well? So my big why has evolved. And honestly, I've always said I have the coolest job on the planet. I make other people's dreams come true. And so now it's really just to leave a legacy of helping people achieve dreams. But it changes, so don't expect your big why will be the same forever. But we're one of the few businesses where we wake up unemployed every morning. This is not a business where we art. I'm sorry, but do we not? And so if you don't have a big why, in Park City, I was up teaching last week, and for them, I said, you need a big why so that when it snows, you don't just immediately go to the ski slopes, because that's what they want to go do. We all have something we'd rather do. And so, yeah, you wake up in the morning, it's like, all right, why am I going into work? Why am I doing the things I love to do and the things I don't love to do?
Well,
It's big why.
yeah, and when you shared that, I thought we make things so complicated, and it doesn't need to be. So simplicity, to me, make people's dreams come true is so great. I've tried to keep with the ALC, our goals are very simple, and often it's just one thing, like put one more person in your downline, do one more deal, have one great training. It doesn't have to be so complicated. I think we make it so. What would you say is the one thing on that note that our agents should be doing every day to improve their business?
The number one thing they need to do, I don't know that it's a daily thing, which is probably really good. The number one thing that they need to do that most fail to do has to do with the class we have on Wednesday with Kimber. You don't take your database and you don't put it into a systemized process whereby you're staying in touch, whereby they're calling you more than me. And I'll give you a real example. A friend of mine died a week ago of a massive heart attack. He owns a small real estate company. He started with me when he was a brand new baby, fresh out of school. And his son has called a mutual friend of ours and said, we want to sell Dad's business. And so this friend called me and said, Lee, what do you think? And I said, unfortunately, after 32 years in the business, he doesn't have a business. He doesn't own a single asset. He rents where he lives or where he works. He doesn't own the copy machine. He rents that. He has stayed in touch with his clients better than most agents. And here's what he did. Once a year, he sent them a calendar. He does less business than hardly anybody. I mean, his business is very below average. Average is 9 a year, by the way. I don't think he does more than that. And I feel so badly for his wife and for his kids, Jeff and Katie, because I think they thought, and I think that he thought that he had an asset. And the son said, but we could sell, Dad's database. And I went, there's no relationship in that database. One calendar year is not a relationship. That's the one thing. And it's a one-time thing. It's a put them into Excel spreadsheet, show up in Kimber's class. This is not rocket science. But the fact that probably 90% of all realtors fail to do that. Then what they've chosen to do is not have it as a business. If you have a great database that you've stayed in touch with, where they're calling you more than you're calling them, then you have to sell them asset. You also have a much easier real estate life. I hope so. I mean, it's been around for a while. I'm so glad Kimber's leading it now, because really, come with your laptop, You can just do it. And then truthfully, you know what you have to do? You have to call them 4 times a year. And once a year, you have to go push the red start button again. And to renew it.
Rocket science.
Rocket science, there we go.
Well, thank you for that. And I know you've seen so many agents over the years come and go, some very successful and others not. What quality or skill set would you say makes people super successful besides having a database?
I mean, they're willing to lead generate. I think that's the number one. Coach Dave talked about getting up there, even if it's, you know, you have 5 people a day or 10 people. You have to be willing to talk to people. The fact that you've gotten your license does not mean people are going to flock to the doors. So you are going to have to reach out to them and keep reminding them. So I think that's one. And then I think the other is we tend to practice on our clients instead of practicing here. So you go on a listing presentation and you haven't really done that before, or maybe you've done it before and maybe not as successfully as you should. And so we have this this practice session in front of a lot of clients. And that, I don't know, what's our average commission? $10,000, $15,000. Wow, that's an expensive practice session. So I think we don't master the words that work. And so that's scripts, that's role play, that's actual practices. That's not thinking you need to, that you're so smooth, or not thinking that that script doesn't sound like you, therefore you're gonna use your own words. How's that working for you thus far? Yeah, I think those are the 2 things, lead generation and mastering of your presentations and scripts.
And there's a class for that, I think, right before Kimber's workshop.
Oh, my goodness, isn't it
Practicing
great? Everything we need is right here.
Like everything
On
we have.
Wednesday. It's the biggest day in real estate.
Thank you, Rich. I get to talk to people all day long and definitely people when they're struggling, and I have a little joke and I say, every problem can be solved by doing a deal. Relationship problems, financial, mental,
Yeah.
everything can be solved by a deal. But how does the big why come into play when you are struggling?
So I think that your big why helps you determine what those numbers are. I don't think the number is the important thing. I don't think that Phoenix deciding he wants to do 1 more deal than me, so he's gonna do 36 deals and be ahead. That will never be his motivation. The reason he's doing it is what it is. So what those deals will fund, and maybe that's kids' college education, maybe that's buying 3 investment properties, maybe that's trips around the world, maybe that's retirement planning. I'm not sure what your big why is, but the need of the why will solve the number thing. And if you don't have the big why, then it becomes not as much fun. It doesn't
It
get you
gives
there.
everything into a reason.
A reason, yeah, absolutely.
How important is accountability in your life and business?
Really important, and it always has been. You know, you can go to the gym and work out, or you can have a personal trainer. It'd be better if you have a personal trainer. But you get the idea. When there's an accountability piece, then we do better. And the accountability piece should be formal. I mean, luckily in our market center, Dave provides that, Coach Dave provides that ability to have that accountability, which also means that when you run into a wall, and we all run into walls, that there's somebody there to pick you up when you bounced off the wall. But we just flat will do more. You know, we'll all let ourselves down all the time. So, yeah, we hold grace for ourselves. We don't never hold it. I mean, I won't hold grace for Phoenix. I'll ride him hard. Seriously, right? Yes. But the reality is, but we do, all of us individually, well, you know, kids were sick, or, well, you know, I wasn't feeling good, or the car wasn't working right. Well, and we all have some way that we will, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And yet, if we really care about the other person, which an accountability partner does, whether it's Shauna as your team leader, Dave is your broker, Coach Dave is your coach, person on your team, a person in the office. I mean, looking at Brooke and my sitting in my seat. Brooke's sitting in my seat back there. You know, there have been times when Brooke and I have had conversations about his production and just having another accountability partner. I ask you guys all the time how business is doing and have those conversations. Having accountability is huge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know that I've never quantified anything more than in this job that I have. How important is goal setting and quantifying? Not just doing more business, but
No, huge. I'll give you a true example. We use Charlotte Thomas as an example. Charlotte, this is when before Keller Williams, I was with Worthy, Better Homes and Gardens. Charlotte in her second year of real estate had done 12 million. She walked in for her consulting session with me. It was business planning time. And I said, what's your goal for this next year? And she said, 14 million. I said, you're flipping kidding me, right? I said, you're gonna do 14 million with your eyes closed based on the track she was on. I said, I need your real wildly audacious goal. And she said to me, I don't like to set goals because if I don't make it, I feel like a failure. And seriously, in this room, we've got dozens of people who feel that way. It's a real normal feeling. So I said to Charlotte, let's do this. You write down your wildly audacious goal and I'll put it in your file. And I promise I won't talk for a year about it. But at the end of December, we're gonna pull it up and see if you were closer to your wildly audacious than you were to your 14 ridiculously easy on track already goal. So she did, she tore it up on the corner, a little square, and wrote $24 million on it. So going from 12 to 24, done. We didn't talk about it once. And in December, when she came in for business planning, I pulled the little scrap piece of paper out of her file and I said, okay. And we got a glass of wine. Over there, so I pulled it out and I said, wow, you didn't make your goal. You only did $22 million.
thank you so much.
And you feel like a failure or what? When you set these easy goals or when you fail to set a goal at all, then you get to go to really mediocre.
Yeah.
And when you just get wildly audacious and pretend that anything is possible, then everything becomes possible. She went on to do way more than that after that. Went on to be the #1 Keller agent in North America. So wildly audacious, don't be afraid. Be fearless and just write it down. And then share it with one person. You can even put it away. I even had somebody who was in my business planning clinic years ago, and he wrote his goals down and he looked at them every day through January, and then sometime in February it got misplaced and he could not find them. And it was at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, like in October, November, he found them. They'd actually, his wife had stuck them under his coin thing, and so it was piled with junk on top of a stretcher. And he said, it was so funny to look at the goals. I have made every single one. Just the act of writing down goals makes you 80% likelier that you'll achieve your goals just by writing them down. It's so simple. So no reason for anybody not to do it.
And I love stretch goals. You introduced me to Charlotte when I was brand new agent in Midway. And you said she is the top agent and she moved here and she knew no one. And I was like, how can I fail? I live here.
Yes.
But she was so impressive.
Very systematic.
Very systematic.
Was a bank teller at a bank in Colorado.
Yeah.
No real estate experience at all.
Amazing lady.
But very systems oriented. So she
Yes.
knew how to do that, push that red Keller Williams button. Yeah, she pushed it.
I always think about Eric Keller has never reached his goals. He sets them so high, but always getting that much closer.
Yeah.
What does a day look like for you?
Well, it varies. Nowadays, it includes a fair amount of golf, time with great grandchildren, if not selling Girl Scout cookies, spending time. But it does also include, yesterday I spent 4.5 hours Exactly what you pointed out earlier this morning, I sent out and I do this every year, I have a section to my database, which is my own neighborhood. I was an old gated community. And so every year I put out a comparison of 2021 versus 2020 in prices. My neighborhood went up 37%. Yeah, the Wasatch Front average. So I did that along with a little note to them, thanking them for all their referrals, whether they sent any or not. I don't think they did, and they should. And they do. And you know, I got a call last night that somebody's remodeling, so I'm the go-to person for the granite guy and the flooring guy. And that's my goal, is to be that resource about their home for anybody. About anything on their home. And then I sent the forecast, the reprint of the 2-page forecast of what happened last year in detail, and so they have comparison. So I spent 4.5 hours doing that. So it's talking to my people. I have just over 400 people in my database, so I have to talk to them 4 times a year. So I've got to talk to just under 5 people a day.
That's a great piece of information to give them. You're always the go-to real estate expert.
Always, yeah, always.
What was the best advice you ever given?
That if you help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you want. So when I have a conversation with somebody and I can hear more about what Risa wants than my getting a commission, changes how I talk to Risa. Changes how I talk to every buyer walking into an open house, which we still do. Changes every conversation. Good example is handing out my fudge in November. End of November, the first neighborhood was North Salt Lake. And I stopped at Kathy and Don's house, was checking up to see how they were doing. Son graduated, and he just got a job and he's just gotten engaged. And she said, he's getting married in April and they're saving for a house. And I said, stop it. He cannot outsave this market. He absolutely would be the loser if he does this. I said, he's at an age where he's not going to have Social Security. He's not going to have a pension, a retirement fund by some company. His only way to build wealth has got to be in large part due to real estate. So the kid called me 4 days later, was closing on Friday. By the way, he has a plan. He'll buy another one before the end of this year. He'll buy one every year until the children, not married yet, until the children get to elementary school, and then I'll leave them alone so the kids can have stability. So if you care and help them get what they want, you'll always get what you want.
And that comes right back to making people's dreams come true.
Yes.
I love that. I
Yep.
love that. We've come
Yep.
full circle. If our people here do not have a big why, what do they need to do to have one by the end of business day? What questions should they be asking themselves?
Well, a lot of people say I want to earn 100,000. Okay, Rich, will you play this one with me?
Oh, poor Rich has had to play this one.
She already had all the questions for me. So, thank you.
Rich has already had to play this one for me.
I'll play with you. It was 20 years
Okay.
ago.
Okay, all right, well, yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's now or 20 years ago, but if we're setting a goal for 2021, pretend or real, it doesn't matter. What would your goal be? Use a number.
I'll go back to that conversation, 60 grand.
60 grand,
Yep.
okay. And so why is 60 grand important to you, Rich?
Because it's 4 times more than I did last year.
Okay, that's great. And what will 4 times more money do for you?
Make things a little more comfortable.
For who?
We might start again.
Okay, yeah. What about Gina? And at that point, there were kids. So what would that do for you and Gina?
I think that I can pay my bills and feel.
Right, and in the comfort after you pay your bills and you got that comfort, whenever you do this is all coming. What would you do with that extra money that you have?
Say that.
Save it. Okay. And how much would you have in the bank before you felt total comfort? So then what makes 60 the right number?
Well, at that point, you said no.
So you just want to keep asking why.
But
I
at the
want
end of the year, it was,
It was.
and it was that conversation, and non-believing, and coming in pretty much at the end, having that number way more than what it was.
And story in the beginning.
We already talked.
Well, I was fortunate in that Rich and I knew each other before he got into real estate, and so we talked when he got into real estate. And in our initial conversation, when he got licensed, I said, okay, Rich, here's my deal. I expect you to sell a house your first month. And he said, okay. He said, but I've got money set aside, if I don't. And I said, yeah, but I expect you to sell out in the first 30 days. He said, yeah, I know, but seriously, Lee, we planned for this, and so I've got money set aside, so I'll be okay. And I said, yeah, but I expect you. And then he got it. It wasn't about financial safety, it was about the expectation. I will never forget the day that Rich walked into my office. It was day 28. And he said, "What's this house today?" And he said, "I didn't get that day."
2 days
So-
to spare. I love that.
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
having high expectation, having accountability partner, I mean, that's all I was doing at that point, was being Rich's accountability partner. So it's a big deal, guys. Wildly audacious goals.
Who's gonna have a big why by the end of business day, if they don't already?
Okay, will you bring it to me and let me go through it? Okay, and then. Sharon,
Hey,
it's
if you don't
Sean.
want to leave, you can come to me, I'm sure.
Tomorrow.
I dare you. Never put your money straight.
That sounds like fun.
And then we'll deal after that.
I love
Okay.
that. I love- Thank you
Perfect,
so
my
much.
pleasure.
for
Thank you,
being
guys.
here. It's fun to see Rich get put on the spot. See Rich. All right, let's do our wants and needs, and then we have Jimmy John's from the office for everybody. So who has a need for a buyer or rate listing coming up?